Not only were your movements unmotivated, but you didn't understand the coming out of your mouth.
So the film's called Teacher, and it's a film that explores the competitive nature and ruthless ambition of a theater school student. So the plot sort of works this way. You have Jason and Vanessa are two theater school students who want to be famous actors, and when an apprenticeship is announced with a famous theater in the city, where the people who go through this apprenticeship usually end up becoming very successful actors. So it's kind of a story of ruthless ambition, the sly ways we go about trying to get things and from other people, and it's kind of a ruthless story all in general.
I play Jason in the film, and Jason is, I think the best way to put it, ruthlessly power hungry and ambitious. So, I mean, there's not really anything he won't do to win any given thing that he's a part of. And I think that this has been a long-standing theme within his life. He can't stand to lose. He will destroy anybody that gets in his way of his overall goal. And, I think in the parameters of this film, that is to get the apprenticeship.
Do you mind typing a little bit quieter?
There's nothing wrong with my typing. I guess throughout the movie, my interaction with Katie is, it's very, very morbid. It's a very poisonous and venomous relationship. We were exes, and yes, we are still involved. And there's a fierce, fierce competition between the two of us because each of us believes that we're the strongest in the class and that the apprenticeship should be ours.
I played Vanessa in Teacher, and basically she's a very competitive person and student who is going after a summer internship at a theater and competing against her ex-boyfriend. It's a great story about a theater school, and I think it really captures that competitive vibe when it comes to these things that seem like a huge deal at the time.
You would have been correct if she was the problem in the scene. I know you think you're God's gift to this profession, but you would learn something from me. If only you would get over yourself. My relationship with the professor, with Robert, is, again, a poisonous relationship where I don't think he has anything to offer me. I think he's just trying to hinder me and keep me from achieving my goals. And I think a lot of that stems from the fact that I think he had my ambitions at one point and he failed to achieve them. And now he's trying to put the same pitfalls in my path that he encountered.
As far as my character goes, it's a kind of teacher who sometimes, you start off in acting and you go and have a successful career, and sometimes you don't, and then you go into other areas, and sometimes that dream and legacy of the history of what you really desired and wanted itches at you inside and keeps you frustrated. And I'm not really the nicest teacher in terms of compassion at times. So that's sort of in a nutshell.
If I've been able to do my job and make you actors, your name will appear on that list. Sadly, there will be only 5 names.
I'm kind of the favorite.
Yes, and as far as character goes, there's other elements happening here. I certainly have a certain attraction, although I am married, to a very successful actress.
And I'm willing to do anything to get this internship, so...
Yeah, and I know that. I know that, but I don't tell her that.
Yeah.
Right now. No, forget the interview. I'm gonna get the apprenticeship, not you. Me. You understand? Hello?
I was really fortunate on this film that, I had 3 actors who, are all very stellar. I mean, Robert, is very well known in the indie industry in Toronto. He's in pretty much everything. And, Katie is also, she's up and coming. She's doing a lot of stuff. And both of them are very talented. And Cameron is, I've known him from my theater work that I did. In my first full-length play, I cast Cameron. And, and he was my, to be honest, my roommate at the time, and the first person who read the script. And when he read it, he was like...
I had to have it.
Exactly.
I had to have it.
He was like, I wasn't even planning on really producing the film. I think that's something to sort of to state is I was working on another film at the time, and that one was sort of going through a slow period, and I just needed to keep busy creatively. I was just, I was going out of my mind. So I wrote this film, just to stay busy, and I just gave it to Cameron. I'm like, do you want to give it a read? Like, I don't know if it's any good. I don't know. And he read it, and he was just like, yeah, we have to do this.
I was looking at the character, and I'm like, well, Cody, you can't just sit on this. I want to be in it. So you can't not produce it, because then I won't get to be in it.
That's actually exactly how he did. He came up to me. He's like, you can't just sit on this. Like, it was
pretty much.
So he was pushing me, and eventually I said, okay, let's do it. Let's make a movie. We shot on the Canon 5D, which is actually my cinematographer. His name is Alex Datchev. He is a cinematographer in Toronto. Shot a lot of stuff. Incredibly talented man. Knows how to really create a movie from very little. We had a dolly, and I think that was something I learned on this film, which on my last film we shot with a Steadicam, and that was great for that particular film, but using a dolly I think really adds production value. So for indie filmmakers out there who don't have a lot of money but really want to get production value out of their film, dolly. It's a way to go. I've been working as an editor for the past little while, and a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine, who's been looking to get into editing and had PA'd on my first film, and he came out and PA'd on this film. Eventually cut it for me. I said, "Do you want to cut it?" He's like, "Absolutely," and he cut it on Final Cut Pro. And my sound recordist, who is also a sound designer, he had recently started doing some work at Post City Sound, and so we were able to get a wonderful mix done at Post City Sound, and they were so good to us there. Like, the thing I really have to say, for indie filmmakers out there is, if you're passionate and you're dedicated to what you want to do, and people believe that you actually want to do this, everyone wants to help you.
Sometimes you have to take a risk in order to be rewarded. Next.
Cody is fabulous.
Yeah, go ahead.
We love Cody. He's very professional.
Yeah, actually, that is a striking element of Cody. He has a maturity, and I think he comes from a theatrical, artistic family. We have a term actor's director, and I would put him in that category. I think it's great to have someone who, especially taking you through rehearsals. I think that's so important in what we, especially for a film, which is unusual. In theater, it's done all the time.
That it's very, very refreshing to work with a director that has such a clear vision of what he wants, because it helps everything move a lot more smoothly. Cody has a direct goal. He's got his line of sight, and this is what needs to be done, and so we're going to do it, and it's going to be the way that he wants it, and then we can move on. And I think that is just a very important quality to have in a director, because it makes absolutely everything to do with the shoot easier. Everything.
So, to check out my website, you can go to www.lessermen.ca, and you'll see all sorts of information on there about my previous film, Roofies and Romance, and Teacher, and anything upcoming.